Hello, everyone. This is Meena from Destination CEO. How are you all doing? It's been a while since I have been live, so I'm kind of lost. I've lost a little bit of practice, but it's important. I have missed you guys, and I wanted to be here for you today to share some resources that I have picked up over the last few weeks, a few months that I haven't been around, and also to talk to you about different things that you've been facing. So I hope that you're here with me or that you're watching the recorded version and you're going to utilize and use some of the resources that I'm going to share with you today. So the topic for today is to help you set up a 5-step job search plan. But before we get into that, I wanted to share with you a few stories, as usual. And one comes specifically from Warren Buffett. Everybody knows Warren Buffett, so there's no need to introduce who he is. So once Warren Buffett spoke to his pilot, and it's a very popular anecdote around it, about the 5-25 rule. You see, his pilot had been flying for him for the past 10 years. So Warren went to him and said, you know what, you've been in the same job for the past 10 years. So I don't think I'm justifying myself as your employer if I'm not helping you with your career growth. So I want you to do this. I want you to today create a list of 25 most important things to you. So where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? And list down 25 things that you want to accomplish. So the pilot thought, wow, that's interesting. That night he went home and he created a list of 25 things that he wants to accomplish. So he brought the list back to Warren, and Warren said, okay, now from this list, I want you to do a priority setting. So list 5 items that are priority for you. Now, that was a little more difficult, right? 25 things that are all important to him. He has to list down 5 based on priority. So he works on it and he makes his list of 5 important things. Next thing you know, Warren says, okay, so great, you've listed your 5 important things. Now tell me, what are you going to do with the rest of 20? So the pilot said, well, those are important to me too. So, whilst I'm trying to achieve the first 5, which are important to me, I'm going to also, give some time to the next 20. And that's why Warren stopped him and said, the rest, the 20, are not as important unless you've achieved your first 5. So I want you to focus on the first 5. And only when you achieve those first 5, that's when you look at the other 20. And I'll tell you why he said that. It's because when you look at such a big list, right, you get distracted. And you're trying to accomplish literally everything, a little bit here and a little bit there, and you're gaining knowledge, and you're gaining information, and all of this becomes a little overwhelming, right? You as a job seeker, you know how much knowledge is out there. You know what you need to do, but you're trying to distribute your time. By the way, 2 infinite resources. There are only 2 infinite resources that you have, and that's your time and your attention. So if you focus your time on the non-essential things, then the essential things take a step back, right? So if you have a good 5 hours in your day and you're focusing on 25 things versus 1 thing that is the most important to you right now, you're spreading your attention thin. I hope this is resonating with you, because I've made a lot of notes for you, and I want to make sure that whatever I share today is of value. So you see, as a job seeker, we all know what's important, what are the things we need to do, and at the end of the day, what is the result we want to achieve. But whilst we're doing that, our focus moves around different things. And then what starts happening is you heard something new, or you learned something new, or someone said, oh, you know what, focus on this versus what you're focusing on because this is better. And your attention is getting diverted. And when that happens, you start stressing. And that stress causes tension. That tension, mental tension, eventually starts hurting your physical self. So Sally Malia posted earlier today, and Sally is a senior talent manager at TIMA, also a Destination CEO mentor. She said that in her conversations with many people, many of you have written off 2020. Why? 2020 is not done. We're still at the beginning of November, right? You still have a good 6 to 8 weeks to harness and to get better with your craft, to reach out to as many people as possible, to apply for as many positions as possible, so that even if you don't achieve what you're trying to achieve in 2020, that 2021 starts off with a positive foot. The entire world has changed. COVID has hit each and every one of us. It's hit me really, really bad. But my mentor asks me this on a regular basis. What do you want to achieve? And what are you willing to give up to achieve what you want to achieve? Right? If I tell you his name, because I think most of you know him, if I mention it, his email box is going to be overwhelmed. So I'm not going to look at that. Anyways, so going back to what Warren said to his pilot, I ask you the same question. Did you make a list of your most important items? And are you focusing on it? Or are you getting diverted with all of the different things available out there and trying to get a little bit of everything? Oh, if this doesn't work, then I'll try that. And if that doesn't work, I'll try that. Did you try that one thing religiously? And if not, it's a question you need to ask. Do you really want it bad enough? Is it on the top of your priority list? You see, another person who I highly admire and who does not need an introduction is Elon Musk. Elon Musk has 2 rules of learning fast. And by the way, there are phenomenal videos around this, and I'm going to put that, I'm going to put the links in the comments, so feel free to check it. But Elon Musk said that make sure you're building a tree of knowledge. Okay? Understand the importance. So the foundation of what you're trying to build is extremely important. You know that if you're building a tree, if you're growing a tree, most important is the bigger parts, the roots, the trunk, the bigger branches. All of the leaves, they're secondary. Those are logistics. So I know that whenever I plan something and I discuss it with my business coach, with my mentor, I go into details of how I want to achieve it, and what are each and every aspects of getting the perfect product or perfect plan. And he always brings me back and he says, what is the most important thing? So the first rule of learning fast by Elon Musk is focus on the big things, the most important things. And the second rule is the connection. How does each of that aspect connect with each other, right? That's when you look at the logistics. So let's start with your 5-step job search plan. Step 1 is your SMART goal. And I'm going to have these sessions on a weekly basis. I'm going to be here 2 p.m. every Monday. to go into detail of each and every point. But in short, I want to give you your first 5 priorities. Your SMART goal, specific. What is it that you want to achieve? Is it measurable? How much time are you going to give it? Right? If it's a job, how many resumes are you going to send? How many people are you going to connect with? Is it achievable? Based on your skills and your qualifications, is this goal achievable? Right? Is it realistic? In the market you are right now, in the situation you are right now, is it a realistic goal that you want to achieve? And then, what is your time frame? So I usually say to everybody that when you're building a SMART goal, which requires you to do a lot of focus, 6 to 8 weeks is very, very important. And you know what? Around week 4, you're going to start getting frustrated, which is just normal. So you need to find ways to motivate yourself. But we're going to go through it next week. Right now, the first and most important thing is, where do you see yourself as 2021 starts? Maybe before the end of 2020, but realistically, let's say January of 2021. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to see? What do you want to be doing as January starts, as the recruitment season starts, as the year ends for most organizations and they go into the new year and they're going to start hiring? Where do you see yourself? And the second thing, plan 90 days of your finances. This is really, really important. If you are a job seeker, you're not working right now, you need to ensure that for the next 90 days, your financials are taken care of. Your bills, your responsibilities, all of those things are taken care of. And if not, what are you going to do to make sure you have enough finances to manage those next 90 days? Okay. And the third thing, self-assessment. We talked about SMART goal. Now let's break it down into your own assessment. What are your current skills? Do you know yourself? Do you know how fantastic you are? How amazing you are? Do you know your value proposition that you bring to an employer? Do you know what makes you stand out? What makes you unique to them? And if not, isn't that something that you really need to sit down and create a list? This is why an employer should hire me in this particular position, in this industry. So do that self-assessment. And once you're done with that self-assessment, your value proposition, now you want to look at what's blocking your success. What are those success blockers? Are these external success blockers, as in not enough positions, not having your job search tools ready, not having enough knowledge? Or are these your internal success blockers, that you're applying for positions that are not relevant to who you are as a person? You know, internal success blockers are usually the attitude, the soft skills, the lack of confidence, the lack of motivation, the lack of belief in yourself. So what are those external and internal success blockers? And once you've created those success blockers, now it's time to really sit down and focus on your job search tools. How strong is your resume? Is the resume that you have getting you the interviews that you need? And if it's not, stop and let's focus on your resume. Is your LinkedIn profile, which you're using and 95% of recruiters are using right now to source candidates, is it strong enough? Does it tell your story? Is it attracting attention? Your interview skills, are they strong enough? Are you getting interviews, and in those interviews, are you able to get past the stage 1 or stage 2 of those interviews? And if not, then that's where your focus needs to be. these priority listings to ensure that your tools are ready, your attitude is ready, your motivation is ready, your time, you are focused. Those are very, very important. And finally, the fifth is start with your relevant networking. You see, many a times my students, they jump into the relevant networking because, you know, there's this whole thing about hidden job market, and I'm not saying it's not there, but take a step back. There is a department called Human Resources. And this Human Resources department, they work tirelessly to ensure that every single person that applies for the position is given equal opportunity, right? So if you've not created a strong enough resume, which is getting you the interviews, then to connect with people is a little premature. And if you're connecting with people and you're not able to showcase your value proposition, once again, connecting with them is immature. Okay? So step one, your SMART goal. Step two, your finances, your plan. Step three, self-assessment, your success blockers. Step four, your job search tools. And step five, relevant connections. So these are the 5 steps, and I wish that you have written them down, or you watching the recorded version and you are writing them down, because I'm going to come back again next week to go into detail on each of these steps. I hope this was helpful. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to log off. Please, I hope that you will pay attention and you will focus on what's priority right now. Stop distracting yourself. There's too much out there. And if you get distracted, then you're losing that infinite, one of those infinite resources. And I wish you don't do that. Well, this is Meena Dalwani from Destination CEO. If you want more detailed help, I always offer one-on-ones. We have career conversations a couple of times a week, specifically on Sundays, where I do an orientation. Please sign up for one of those orientations. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your profile. Our November cohort is going to start next week. So I hope that if this has been helpful, you want to get focused, you want to do it with me, join our partners, join our orientation. If not, I hope that you will be watching me Mondays with Meena. Wish you a beautiful start of this phenomenal week. Have an awesome, awesome day ahead. Thank you.